Someone reached out to us recently, and the person have been trying to move abroad for over 3 years. And we are like, so what's wrong? Can you tell us like a bit of your background, like what you've been doing, the processes you have taken, and what was the outcome so far? And from what we found out, so according to him, he said first year he has been sending emails to potential employers abroad, Ireland, Zealand, and all of that, Australia, trying to see if he can move with the work visa route, like the sponsored job work visa. It got to a point whereby he was like, okay, let him see if he can actually go with his skill because he's a footballer. He reached out to potential managers in different countries, sending them their sending his tape to them and all of that. But in the end, no one responded. Then he was like, okay, let me see if it's gonna work. Then he reached out to us. After we had one-on-one call with him, then we said, okay, all these years you've been doing this, like, what do you think was wrong? Like, what do you think, okay, what have you learned from the process? It was like, okay, according to him, he said he learned that it's not going to be easy getting a job sponsored visa right from where he is, which is correct, because let's say out of 100, like 10 can be successful or 5 can be successful, why the rest will not be. And I know some people who have given testimonies of how they got job sponsored visas, they moved abroad, which is fine with his family. That's correct. But think of it this way. So we are trying to kind of like analyze the situation to this particular client. So we said, think of it this way. If an employer wants to employ you or sponsor you from abroad, there's so many things involved, right? One, the employer has to go through process of paperwork and all of that, spend more money, trying to sponsor you, immigration and all of that, making sure that everything goes well, that's more expenses on the employer side and more paperwork for him. Then we give a scenario. If there are two candidates who are actually applying for a job, yeah, one is in that country, one is in another country who needs visa to move to the next country, and the employer just wants one person, who do you think the employer is going to take? The person who's already in the country probably has the right to work document and all of that. It's not going to cost the employer anything than to just pick up the phone and say, hey, are you available to start working today or tomorrow? That's just how it is. But if the employer want to go extra miles to maybe bring in somebody from abroad, of course, the employer needs to at least qualify, has the right, the paperwork and all of that, which is something that people have done, and I've seen people who have done it and it works as well. So that's a different thing. So then we also asked him, okay, how about your career as a footballer? How was it going? You reached out to people. What was the response? Was there any rejection and all of that? He said, people, you start reaching out to people. Nobody responded. And I said, you know what? You're actually a skilled person. But in this case, it's not going to be easy for a potential maybe football manager to see you and pick you up. Of course, they need to see you play in person. They need to know your strength, your weakness. Are you a team player? Like which area of football you play. For example, I don't know about football, neither my teams will know about football. We are trying to evaluate things, trying to make him see reasons why possibly all these years of trials and everything has not been going through. Then he was able to understand that, hey, it's true. Then we said, first of all, what you should be looking into is your budget. Where do you want to go? Like, where should you start with? Where should be your point A that gives you access to other places? It was like his budget is tight. Then he was kind of like, say, okay, he was looking into Netherlands, Germany, Austria, and all these places. I said, okay, fine. If you need to look into all these places, then you need to have what it takes to go there. It's doable, of course, but at least you need to have the financial means to actually go there. Then he acknowledged that, of course, he doesn't have the financial means to go there. And I said, that's the problem. You can't actually be putting your hand at a place where you don't have the means to go there. You don't have any sponsors. You're just you. He was like, okay, what do I need to do? He said he even tried to consult some few friends and they were like, hey, you should go here because of your skill and all of that. Then we just asked him a realistic question. Okay, this was the question. Okay, let's say we want to go to Germany, for example, want to go to Netherlands right now, right? Do you have a friend that when it comes to the financial means, maybe if the money you have runs out, do you have a friend that you can actually run to right now and the person lends you some money or borrows you money or somebody who can stand with you on the journey? He was like, no, nobody. I said, okay. We said, okay, yeah, that's it. That's the problem. People are easy to give advice, but when it comes to the doing, everybody will just move back. You're on your own. That's how it is. I don't know for you. Maybe I believe you guys have kind of like experienced it. When you go to a friend to ask for an advice, for example, let me just use this scenario. Let's say people are talking about Poland, yeah? Then you actually went to a friend that you confide in. You're like, okay, what do you think about Poland and Netherlands? You know, do you know what this person will say? He said, probably I'm gonna go for Netherlands, you know, because of opportunities, lifestyle, work, and all of that. And the person will give you reasons why you should choose that place. That is gonna, you know, it's gonna make sense. At least if you stay this X number of years, you have this X level, you have all this and all of that. And of course, you understand that what the person is saying is true. The person is trying to convince you why you should go for Netherlands instead of Poland. But do you know what? Your pocket determines where you're gonna go, right? You are the one funding the whole thing. You know your capacity, you know your budget, you know how financially stable you are. Now, when it comes to the doing part of it now, let's say for example, you decided to go with your friend's advice. You want to say, okay, let me go with moving to Netherlands now. And it got to a point whereby maybe you run out of money, you don't have any money again, and you still go to that friend and say, hey, please, can you sponsor me, or can you give me this X amount of money? Let me support my journey. Maybe when I get there, I will pay you back. Do you know what the person will say? 99.9% of the time, the person will say, I have my own problem to deal with. I don't have anything. I've done this, I've done that. I'm left with nothing. But remember something. That was the same friend who gave the advice to say, hey, choose this X place. This X place is better. This place is this and that. But when it comes to doing, everybody will just run away. You're on your own. What am I trying to say in all this thing? This was the same thing. We talked to the guy, tried to make him understand that, hey, depending on how much you have, see where it can get you, where you're going to go. We're not going to choose a place for you. Never. You tell us, hey, this is the place you want to be. And we'll try to evaluate and see possibilities of going there. That's how we do things. And we're like, okay, what's your budget? Where are you looking at? Look at how much it's going to cost. Like getting admission from, let's say for example, we want to look into the school route, admission to this school, the visa process, this and that. Do you have what it takes? Are you stable enough to actually take all this yourself? You know, then we looked at a couple of options. Then finally we arrived at a particular point, say, okay, you can do this place. Look into this place. So if you're somebody who is in that situation whereby you don't have a particular place where you are targeting, maybe you are low on budget, but you have not come to a concrete place where you want to move to based on your budget, please, I would advise you actually look into that place. Because if when you go to ask people for opinions, for advice, there will be thousands and millions of it. But when it comes to the doing part, that is where things get tough and that's where things get real, to be honest with you. Let me say this again. During my journey, my first place I want to go was Poland. Guess what? The agent I was trying to use the first time said, hey, no, there's nothing in Poland. Leave Poland. Po what? That was what he said. He said, instead of going to Poland, go to UK. Guess what? I said, okay, fine, let's do UK since you said UK is better. I was one that paid the money, right? We did UK failed. Second time, nothing. Third time, nothing. Until I said, no, I'm not doing it again. I'm tired. You know? He said, okay, let's look at Sweden. That is better. We did Sweden. Nothing still worked out. You know, remember, time was going. My finances were all going. My money was going all the same time. Until I said, okay, I want to take the bull by my horn. I want to do everything myself right now. I want to, hey, deal with it my own way. That was how I finally figured out a way and finally moved, because I was able to take action myself, my decisions, based on what I have left. So if you're looking for people's opinion, maybe you are there, for example, looking at sponsorship jobs. Of course, like I said, out of 1 to 100. It's going to come, but you can't actually say. You can be looking at job portals, sending emails, looking at all these things, but it might take time to come. But still, what I would advise is don't hold on to your plan for a long time. Make that move with what you have. I know when I say make move, I don't mean you should just go to a random place. Start with a place where you know so that will give you assets, that will give you leverage. I keep using this word leverage because it's something that pushes you up, that gives you access to access other things. For example, when you move, you look at what? Building connections, good relationship, connecting with people, you know, trying to understand how the system works and see if you can actually balance yourself, integrate yourself in society, and see how you can actually benefit there. Then if you find out, okay, this place is not for you, then you look for how you can move to the next place. That is how people who have moved abroad. I've talked to a lot of people who have lived in so many countries, who have been to so many places. How did you get to this point you are? Where did you start? Where did you move to? I remember somebody saying their first abroad journey all started from Spain. From Spain, they moved to France. From France, they moved to Holland. From Holland, then they moved to Switzerland. And they loved there in Switzerland. From Switzerland, then they moved to Portugal. They moved to other places. That's how the journey started. So you can start from somewhere, then you move to somewhere. That's how it is. You don't need to, maybe you can't just from down, you want to fly to up. It doesn't make sense that way. So if you're looking for sponsorship jobs, on a scale of 1 to 10, what's the possibilities? You ask yourself that question. That's what I can say. But the only thing I can actually say right now, based on this story of this footballer guy I just told you guys, is take action, work with what you have, look into your budget. Because do you know why? If you keep following trends sometimes will not kind of like work with your budget. Because, for example, if people are saying, okay, this particular place is actually good, and you know quite well that your finances can actually go there, why not just sit down, chill, relax, look at a place where your finances can actually go to? There is a lot of and thousands of information out there to actually begin your journey. All right. So what I would just advise is you start somewhere based on your budget. I keep saying it, based on your budget. I also remember something again. Travel is an investment. Travel is an investment. The return on investment will definitely pay back when you do it the right way. The return on investment can mean so many things. It can mean freedom. It can mean stability. It can mean security. It can mean opportunities. It can mean good relationships. It can mean connections. All these things are what is called the return on investment when you finally make that move. All right, and I hope you do take this advice and make that move as soon as possible. Because you know why? Inflation is not your friend. Your $500 this year is not going to be the same $500 next year. Some people will doubt it. Let me explain. What $500 can actually buy this year will not be the same amount $500 next year can still buy. Why? Because of inflation. It's not your friend. All right? So make the move. Stop the delay. Take action right now. Because it's only those that moves that actually enjoy the benefits. All right? So if you find this helpful, you're more than welcome. If I have any question, please, you're more than welcome to leave your thoughts or your questions in the comment section, and I'll see you guys on the next one. All right? So below the video description, there's a link to join the Telegram community where people who are also moving abroad, having questions, and helping and supporting each other. Also in the description, there's an email to send if you want to work with us. We are there. Book a call as well with us. We'll talk to the process, speak to one of us, and also be there to guide you as well. And apart from that, guys, I'll see you on the next one. Peace and bye for now, guys. Subscribe to the movement, subscribe to the channel, and give this video a thumbs up to help with YouTube upgrading. And I'll see you on the next one, guys. Bye.